He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women.
Are you his daughter? No, I'm not.
What did you see that brought you to a conclusion?
I think it's important to remember that we are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
The first presidential debate has finally happened, and Donald Trump honestly did not do as well as I wanted him to. He actually had a pretty good first 20 minutes and a pretty good last 30 minutes, but there was like this 40-minute slog in between where Donald Trump seemed to be off his mojo. And part of that could be because of the moderators, right? The supposed moderators who were out there fact-checking Donald Trump during the debate with false fact checks. Now, of course, what made this even worse is that they were only going after Donald Trump and not Kamala Harris, despite some of the whoppers that she told. So remember, the purpose of a moderator is to ask questions and guide the debate, not to call things out in real time as they perceive them. So, of course, what I want to do here is actually jump in and fact check the fact checkers. Let's get into it.
They have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me. You should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer the question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question, would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month,
not true.
and probably after birth.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Okay, there's the first fact check. Everything Trump said there is factual, but the fact check says, oh, there's no state where abortion after birth is legal. However, when you actually have a botched abortion where the baby is born and is now on the table, sitting there, wailing in pain, you are allowed to execute it. And that, in fact, is what the discussion was over. Check out this video of the previous governor, Ralph Northam, talking about this horrible practice.
So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
So fact check true. This was actually the practice. And Tim Walz has something similar going on in his district. Under Governor Tim Walz, babies born alive and botched abortions were left to die. And then he removed the reporting requirement. So yes, the left are the true radicals on this position, right? Allowing abortions up into the late term, right? Gone are the days of safe, legal, and rare, right? All of that is gone. Now it's upon demand anytime you want, and it's awful, but let's move on.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying
manager.
their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the...
So if you've been following this story, it is true and it is a little bit crazy. There are pictures of migrants walking around with geese from public parks, okay? And of course, that wasn't necessarily from Springfield, it was actually from Columbus. But what did happen in Springfield was this scenario right here.
Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? Did you guys see all this?
No, we pulled up and she was just laying there with it.
Did you see her eating it?
Eating it.
She was eating it?
Yeah, she was.
I actually highlighted that video yesterday, okay? But it is definitive proof that, in fact, migrants from Haiti are eating pets in America. Because when you import the third world, you get the third world. But let's continue.
Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
This is the line that the left loves to throw around. Crime is actually down, specifically violent crime. However, there's a huge problem with reporting, as Donald Trump rightly says. The FBI has an issue with people actually reporting crime, all right? And basically only 63%, according to NPR here, only 63% of the cities in America actually use the new FBI crime reporting statistics. So in other words, we have a discrepancy of 33% of actual crime happening. And don't forget also, crime committed in these leftist cities by illegal immigrants are often not even reported because people know nothing is going to happen. And of course, crime committed against illegal immigrants themselves are not reported because they don't want to be deported, all right? So these are blaring issues that are completely obvious to the rest of us, but apparently not to ABC.
An election is fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread
standing.
fraud.
That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline.
So Trump does his own fact-checking there, and if you recall, all those court cases that were brought back in 2020, many of them ended the same way. Evidence was presented of fraudulent votes, of irregularities, all this weird stuff that was happening, and yet the judges in all those cases basically said the same thing. The will of the voter cannot be overturned. So apparently all you have to do is get fraudulent votes into the system, and then nobody can contest them. But also what this boils down to is you are allowed to contest elections. We have legal processes in place, and yet what's happening, of course, is Donald Trump is being prosecuted for it. His legal counsel is even being prosecuted for it and disbarred over it. So the whole situation is, of course, ridiculous. And for ABC to come out there and simply say that, oh, you know that all of these cases were dismissed, and Trump says, no standing, not the same thing, so eat it.